Okay, so tonight is our final webinar. This is the fourth one. This one is going to be on content and how to get your audience, your challengers, to engage with you. And tonight I'm going to introduce to you a coach who is very good about this, and he's very successful at getting people to engage. Coach, are you there? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Brian Aroka. He is a star diamond coach of mine. He's a coach that I met about 3 years ago. He came onto my message boards, and you know, he was kind of shy at first, and he just needed a little encouragement to help him get going. But, you know, eventually, you know, once he came out of his shell, I couldn't get him to shut up. So, Brian, are you there? Okay, so looks like Brian might be a little nervous. But I want you to know that you can do this. You are a strong coach. You are successful. You are confident. So let's rock this meeting.
All right, what's up, guys? How you guys doing out there? Okay, that was a little skit that Greg and I came up with over there. All right, let's get this thing started. So let me get to my first slide. Greg, the slides look good? You can see them?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. So what Greg and I did kind of just there, little role playing, was Greg kind of hit on some of the keys to creating some meaningful content. Not only creating meaningful content, but how to engage with your group and your challengers. So Greg, you know, so what are some of the things Greg just did there? Obviously acknowledged me. Gave me some congratulations, talked a little bit about my journey, a little bit of encouragement, and he's kind of enthusiastic, just a little bit.
A little bit.
I know you were reading off this, but a little, he empowered me a little bit, and hopefully, you know, it was a little bit entertaining for you guys. So anyway, these are some of the keys, and that's what I'm going to go over tonight, is to talk about some of these different keys, not only in creating meaningful content, like I said, but also in how to, you know, talk to your challengers. So let me go, and Greg mentioned a little bit about myself. Just real quickly, I've been almost 3 years with my fitness journey. I started with Insanity back in July of 2012. I was about 250 pounds, completely unhealthy, out of shape, a bunch of medical problems. I was only 39 years old. I had no idea what Insanity or Beachbody was, but my wife got it, and I said, hey, let's do this thing. So that's when I met Greg. I was in one of his groups. I think I posted a message on the message boards asking the question, and Greg answered me and then invited me over into his group. And I don't remember what the question was, but I guess there was something special in that answer, Greg. So I jumped on over to your group. Pretty much the rest is history. I became a coach in January of 2013 after Greg asked me, you know, quite a few times. And he was right when I first started his group, because I had no idea what, you know, an accountability group was, or what kind of support a coach gives you. You know, what does that mean? You know, how, you know, motivation, all that stuff. So I didn't know, you know, what to write. But Greg was great, because Greg ran, you know, awesome groups. I'm sure some of the other coaches talked about his groups on some of the calls we've had already. And he made me feel comfortable. You know, he made me feel part of the group. He answered my questions, posted some great information, and it kept me coming back, every single day. And that's real important because I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually learning how to run one of these groups at that time, So I became a coach in January 2013, and then I became Diamond in November, so almost a year later after becoming a coach. And the reason I mentioned that, and I put these dates up here, because there's just one thing I want to talk about real quick, and I know that Greg, Zatanna, Leah, and Jason, they talked about this a little bit, but when we all became coaches, all the coaches start exactly the same. We all start with no customers. We all start with no coaches under us. We all start at the rank of coach. We all start no commissions, no earnings, and usually we all start with no idea what the hell we're doing. So we all start at that level. And the reason that I mention that is because it's a process. This coaching thing, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's something that you really, 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 really have to work hard at, in order to make it a successful business, because that's what this is. It's a business. So let's get to the next slide and then we'll start. All right, so now we get into talking a little bit about content and where to find great content. Where to find great content. Okay, the first place content is going to start is it's going to come from you. Okay? It's going to come from, and the coaches talked about this in some of the calls, it comes from your experiences, and I don't just mean your experiences with your workout program or your nutrition. It comes from your life experiences. The greatest content that you're going to write is that content that that is genuine and comes from the heart. One thing that I did when I first became a coach and I started my own group, because I had no idea what to talk about or what to write about, and Greg had these awesome groups and these awesome posts. So what I did was I just copied all of Greg's stuff and created my own group and just threw all of that stuff in there. And I was like, yeah, okay, and then I opened the door and was waiting for everyone to rush in. So I had Greg come over and take a look, and then he called me up and he's like, what are you doing? You just copied all of my stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to write about. And, and he's like, listen, you can't, you can use my stuff as a reference. You can use it to, to kind of build your own stuff off of, but you don't want to just cut and paste, because what you have to do is it has to come from you. It has to come from, your heart, because my experiences are different than your experiences. We all have different circumstances and different experiences with this journey. So when he said that to me, that was like the first time that I really started to take this business seriously. Because that weekend I kind of sat down and I said, okay, what do I want to talk about? What is it? What people do I want to reach? What do I want to share? About my experiences so far, my journey. And I just wrote, a bunch of stuff, so then I was ready to start a new group, and then that is where all of that content came from. Just kind of soul searching and really thinking about, exactly what I was going to say and coming from my experiences. Other place to find great content, of course, is the pre-written challenge guides. And we've talked about that already. You guys know where to find that in the back office. Once again, these guides are just guidelines. Most of the posts, they're on almost every Beachbody program. You can find a challenge guide. But most of those posts are really short. They do come with some images. But once again, those are guidelines. It's a reference tool. So you want to take that post and maybe get some ideas from it, but then develop it and put in your own experiences and your own how you feel, about whatever the topic is for that day. So you don't just want to cut and paste again and do it word for word. And of course, using Google to find stuff. We all know how to use Google. We use it all the time to try to find images, motivational stories or inspirational quotes. So, you know, and then you can even take sometimes, and I know Leia does this, you know, she finds images, and then we've talked about PicMonkey. I'm kind of old school. I like to use Microsoft Paint, but I think I come up with some pretty good images just using that. So I'll take an image and then I'll add my own content to it. And maybe a quote from somebody else or my own kind of quote. Personal development. Now this one is important. And this was something that I didn't realize until much later after becoming a coach, just how important personal development is. It's one of the 3 vital behaviors. So many ideas content that I've written has come from all of this material that I've read. And one in particular, I mean, if you guys don't have Compound Effect, I suggest very highly that you get it. I mean, that book kind of changed my coaching career when I read that book. It just, you know, it just filled me with so much, you know, it's hard to describe. It really hit me, you know, a lot, and I take a lot of that stuff and I actually use it in my content. And sometimes I'll quote even Darren Hardy in a lot of my posts. And that's one thing you always want to do too. You know, if you're going to quote somebody, always give credit to, you know, the author. Or sometimes I'll just, a concept that he talks about, and then I'll write it, you know, and put, once again, going back to me, you know, going back to you, you know, how you interpret it, how you feel about it, you know, and then write about it and post, and then you have content right there. The last thing over here is your coach support system. This is another really underutilized, I think, by a lot of coaches because there's so much support out there. Of course, you guys know that we have Team Engage. You're probably part of either your coach or maybe your upline coach might have a Facebook group that is only those coaches in your network. So if you're not using all of this support that's around you, you're really doing a disservice to your business. And that's how you can also find great content too. If you ask questions, I mean, there's so much, even on Team Engage, you know, like with psychology, you know, you ask a question about it, someone has a question in your group about it, you don't know the answer, you know, you have these support systems in place that you can find the answer, okay? So you're never out in the dark. So make sure you utilize everything that's around you. One of the big things is enthusiasm, okay? Now you guys know, and I go through this too, you know, every day. I run multiple groups. I have groups on Facebook, I have groups on Beachbody boards. And some days, you know, you just wake up and to be honest with you, it's like, oh man, you know, I really don't feel like posting today. I gotta post in all these groups, you know, and I got up late, you know, I gotta get to work, you know, but you gotta kind of put that aside and you have to find that enthusiasm, okay? You have to say to yourself, every time you make a post, on no matter what topic it is, that this is gonna be the best post you've ever made. And you're gonna change people's lives with it. I know that's kind of like it's kind of out there, but that's how you gotta think about it. And when you're writing it, that's how you want it to come across. Because people can see that. If you're just posting a few sentences about something and there's really no enthusiasm or energy behind it, people pick up on that because they want someone who's going to be, you know, that has amazing enthusiasm all the time. Because enthusiasm is infectious. You know, if you have a group, you know, people are going to look up to you and they're going to see how much energy, positive energy, and how much enthusiasm you have about no matter what you're talking about, you know, workout related, nutrition related, or that movie you saw last night, you know, or you know, or the inches that you lost, or whatever, or the max out time that you got, you know, and there's going to be those days where, you know, it's like it's really hard to do it, but you just got to reach down and you got to try to find it. You can, you know, your fitness journey, like I just mentioned, and your accomplishments, you know, post about that. Even your bad days and the struggles that you're having, obstacles. You can be enthusiastic about that because because we want to share all of that stuff with everybody. You know, if you're having some struggles, you know, post about it. You know, that's real. Everyone, you know, everyone has these struggles. So you're not like this workout god or this nutrition god that never goes through struggles and you know, never has bad days. You know, you're a person just like everybody else, not a superhero. You know, and people see that. You know, but don't just post that. You know, you had a bad day. You know, post about it, but then put in suggestions of how you know you want to change that. You know, so you're also you know giving ideas. You're being real. You're being genuine. And you're also saying, you know, this is what I need to work on myself. You know, so positive energy, positive thoughts, positive actions. And I have an example post. You guys are gonna, you know, I'm not gonna read any of this, but you guys will be able to have this slideshow available. Just a simple post here that you know I posted not too long ago about Mondays. You know, how happy I am that it's Monday and I get to go to work and I get to work out, and you know, and how happy I am that it's another day that I'm alive. You know, and I can do all these things. You know, and just that enthusiasm, that excitement, it's infectious. You know, and people that read that first thing in the morning on Monday, you know, maybe they didn't want to work out, you know, or maybe they had a bad Sunday with, you know, Super Bowl Sunday with a bunch of eating, you know, and then they read that post from you and they go, you know, wow, you know, my coach is so excited and so has so much energy, you know, I mean, you know, I gotta work out, you know, I just gotta do it, you know, because everyone else is doing it, you know, and that's kind of what you know, you gotta lead by example. Okay. Another type of post that you enlightened posts are informational posting. Probably the most you know popular one that you're going to do for some coaches. You know, and that's just your informational posting. That's talking about you know whether it's proper form on a workout, nutrition, intangibles like sleep. You know. And you can see I have some pictures here, and I have an example post here. And this is also all stuff, like, I'll give you an example. Once again, you know, it all comes from you. When I first started doing Insanity, and I don't know, many of you guys, you know, have done Insanity or are planning on doing Insanity, but it's like this in a lot of the workout programs. You always hear, you know, engage your core, engage your core, engage your core. And when I first started, I'm like, what the heck is Sean T talking about, engage my core? I had no idea how to engage my core. So I did my own research, you know, and this is before I was a coach, you know, because I wanted to do it properly, you know, so I did my own research and, you know, figured out, you know, what I need to be doing. I listened to Sean T. I asked my coach and people in my group, you know, what does he mean, engage my core? What should I exactly be doing? You know, how do I do this sit position properly without my lower back hurting, you know? And all of that knowledge that I got, you know, I hung on to and I saved it. And now that's the same knowledge that I'm sharing in my informational posts when I post to the group. And you can see like with these images, you know, like that image up there with the plank, you know, that's an image that I found, you know, on the internet. But I added those graphics with the arrows and the circles there. So, you know, you can do the same thing if you know, and I know some coaches, and I do this too, I make videos sometimes showing proper form with different moves and stuff. You know, so, you know, your informational posts, it's going to come from you and your experiences, but then also you can do the research. And once again, we're not experts here. You know, we're not nutritional experts. We're not fitness experts. We're just people who have went through this or who are going through this and learning at the same time. I've been doing this 3 years, and I'm still learning every day. Every workout, you know, every nutrition day, I'm still learning. And I talk about that process and what I'm learning. Now, you're encouraging, you're empowering posts. This is kind of my forte with my groups. I know some coaches are all about, you know, nutrition, with the free eating challenges and stuff like that, and the workouts and informational posts. But I'm really into positive motivation. I'm really into, because this lifestyle really is mine over your body. Your mind's gonna want to quit, you know, but you gotta dig deep and you gotta find it. And And that's kind of, what I post on. I post a lot of inspirational stories and a lot of inspirational quotes because I really want to empower people. I want them to know that they can do this. Just to give you an example, I had one girl in my group who got the ultimate reset. And she started doing the ultimate reset. And well, right from the bat, she would always tell me that her family was never behind her. That they were like haters in her life. They would tell her that, why is she doing this? That she's fat. She's always going to be fat. There's nothing that she can do. And she would post some of this in the group, but then she started emailing me and posting, and telling me how really bad it was. And then one day she came home and they actually threw out all of her ultimate reset and all the food that she bought, all the healthy food. They actually threw it out in the garbage. And she told me this, and I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. So, it's not only working with people in the group, but when you develop a relationship with them, a trust with them, it kind of goes beyond that. So I really, tried my best to help her, encourage her, empower her that, that she can do this. And eventually, saving grace was she was going back to school, so she wasn't going to be home for that much longer. And then what I also did for her was, because they did throw everything out, I got with her on a 3-way call. We went to Beachbody, and I actually, got her a refund on her ultimate reset. They took the commission away from me, obviously, but, I didn't care because, just like we talked about during this week, it's not the dollar signs that you see on people, it's the person that you see. So you have to remember that you're really touching people's lives. You're changing lives. I know we say it all the time, but there's going to be those moments, and that was a huge moment for me that, that really gave me that aha moment that, oh my God, what I'm doing here is really, really important. It's not about money. It's about people. And when things like that begin to happen, that kind of, it changes you, and then, the things that you post about, it becomes a little bit easier, to come up with the content. And, it's just really, so not only are you empowering, somebody else, encouraging somebody else, but at the same time you're doing that, you're kind of doing that to yourself, by helping others.
Hey, Brian, can I interject something?
Go ahead.
So I do that as well. And it's not always, just to the coaches, I know you do this as well, but it's not always what you post on the screen, right? It's not just what you're commenting or sharing, right? So that engagement that you get from people, that happens behind the scenes, right? So it's like, I have 12,000 messages I just looked that I've sent, on Beachbody, just private messages to people who joined my thread. And that's how I get people to engage with me. It's not through my posting, it's not through my commenting, but it's behind the scenes, like Brian's saying, getting to know the person. It's like before Brian became a coach, we had many conversations about him, losing weight in the beginning and then, becoming, I thought that he would make a great coach, and we talked about that back and forth and stuff. So we had many conversations before he actually did become the coach, So, getting people to trust you, is what it takes. And if you're private messaging them on Facebook, they're much more likely going to trust you when they get to the end of this program and you offer them a challenge back. You're not going to have to sell them on it because they already know you, they trust you, you've had conversations with them. It's not like you're coming them to at the very end of it and never have talking to them, during this whole process. And then you try to sell them something, they're going to be like, no way. You know what I mean? So
it's that, just like you said, it's that building trust. And even though us coaches talk about it a lot, you know, that it's a numbers game. You know, the more challenges you get, the more people that you reach, the more invites you send out. You know, that's, you know, that's how you get people. But, you know, you can't, it is like that, but you know, you can't just see that number on a person. You know, it's not, you know, participant 163. You know, it's Jennifer. You know, it's not participant 99. You know, it's Frank. You know, and you know, if you start looking at it that way, you know, and just trying to reach people, trying to, you know, help them, you know, gain their trust, encourage them, empower them to do these programs to change their lives, you know, you're going to have a customer for life. Okay, then you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to chase the dollars. If you don't, the dollars will start chasing you. You do it. All right, we're getting into the specific stuff right now because I'm kind of talking like general stuff here. A lot of the engaging stuff that I do in my groups, the different things that you can do in your groups to create that engagement. And one thing I want to say about engagement, it's great that you are engaging with everyone in your group, but even more important is having the people in your group begin to engage with each other. That is when the group makes that turn, and that is when it becomes something special, something magical. And I found that out, another aha moment. And as a coach, you know, when you do this, you're going to have many, many aha moments. It was during my first thread, and I decided to do something different. I decided to do a weekend question. Okay, and this would be a weekend question that I would post every Friday, and then I would give the whole group the whole weekend to answer it. So obviously it was, you know, kind of a big question, you know, that's something you have to think about and stuff. So I remember the first time I did it, I posted the question, you know, so it really fun though, kind of, what does everyone do for a living? You know, what are your hobbies? You know, what are things that are interesting to you? You know, and it doesn't have to be workout related. Not everything in your groups has to be workout related or nutrition related. These are life groups. You talk about real life. Your workouts and nutrition become a part of that. But everything that you do every single day, you know, is there's a symbiotic relationship between being fit, being healthy, and being happy, and that includes everything that goes on. But anyway, so I posted this. I had no idea at the time that I would get such a response, but all of a sudden everybody started posting, you know, where they work, what they do for a living, and do they like their job, do they not like their job, what kind of hobbies they have. And I mean, this isn't something I was shooting for. And then all of a sudden people started finding commonalities with each other. Oh, you're a nurse, I'm a nurse too. And you know, how do you handle this when you're working for 12-hour shifts? And then all of a sudden I'm sitting back and I'm watching everyone just totally engage with each other and answering each other's questions. And that's when, as a coach, you know, or a leader in the group, kind of just sit back and it takes on a life of its own. And you just let it go. You know, so I do these questions now, you know, in all my groups on, you know, every Friday I have that weekend question that I ask. So remember, that's very important that, you know, whatever you need to do to get people talking to each other, that's where the magic is going to happen. Now, of course, contests, you know, that's a great way to get people engaging. And I put a couple examples up here. Maybe you guys can figure out, you know, this slide up here on the right, what it is. I posted this. Actually, what I did was I posted one picture every day, so there's 4 pictures here. So I told everyone, hey, you gotta, you know, every morning I'm going to post a picture, and then at the end you'll have 4 pictures, and it spells out a phrase. You know, it's actually called the Rebus puzzle. I don't know if you guys know what that is. You can look it up. And then, you know, and then email me the answer. Obviously, don't post it in the group because you give them the answer. But then email me the answer. So I don't know if you guys figured this out. I'll tell you. This is this is Santa, this is a golf tee, and this is rocks. So in Santa T rocks. Right, a lot of people got that one. So that's, you know, a little fun contest there. I have all different types of contests. I have my sweaty zone and insanity zone picture contest. And this is something that I also do. You know, I ask everybody, and a lot of coaches do this. You know, post a sweaty pic of yourself, or even Shakeology. You know, post yourself drinking Shakeology, post yourself drinking water. Leia said she does this, you know, that last glass of water. I think it's Leia Argentana. You know, so, and then, but I go a little bit step further is, you know, everyone's posting their pictures, you know, and I do tell them that it's a contest. I do have a point system. Unlike some of the other coaches like Greg, they have a form where people, you know, enter in what they did that day and they get their points. Me, I keep track of everybody's points myself. So I don't want them to worry about it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that work. So if I tell you that you're going to get a point for posting your accountability, I got my spreadsheet and I see it that day, I give you that point. You know, I'm keeping track. If you upload that sweaty pic, you know, you get 2 points. I'm putting that over here. And all those points equals, you know, drawings that I have. And that's, each point is a name on your name on a piece of paper that goes in my raffle box. And then when I do my drawing, you know, I pick out a name. So the more that you do in the group, the more points you're going to earn, you know, and the better odds you're going to have to win the prize. But then what I like to do is I like to, you know, once it's over, maybe a week later or 2 weeks later, you know, everyone, you know, forgot about all their pictures or whatever. I save on everyone's picture, you know, and I'll make it a collage like you see here, you know, and I'll post that up, you know, and people see that, you know, just little things like that to get people coming back every single day. You know, what's coach going to do today? You know, what's he going to post about today? You know, so that's where it comes back to enthusiasm, engagement, excitement, you know, having fun. That first slide that I showed you guys, let me switch back to it real quick. This was one that was just in my last group. This was, we did a Flex Friday, and then some other stuff. So there was a bunch of pictures, so I just made this collage, and I posted it as the cover photo. Now this is a paid group. This is my paid challenge group, which is a secret group. But you get the idea here. You can do this in a free group too. You know, and I made this the cover photo, you know, for a few days. You know, so everyone's got their picture up on the cover photo. You know, everyone submitted a picture. And then you're also, what you're doing here is, you know, you're not just having people post a pic and then, you know, all of a sudden that pic, you know, it falls off of the Facebook wall, you know, it's way down here. You know, all of a sudden now, a few days later, boom, there's their picture again. And it's, you know, it's kind of up in the spotlights. But what happens is now the other people who didn't post their pic, you know, they're like, oh man, you know, next time coach asks me to post a pic, I'm gonna, because he's gonna do something crazy with it. You know, I want to make sure that I'm a part of that. You know, and I think I have. Yeah, here's my Flex Friday that we did groups ago. Everyone flexing. I made a collage of that, put it up there, and posted it. Plus, this is also. I also use this for advertising purposes for my next group that's coming up, you know, or in my free group. You know, if I do this in my paid group, you know, then I'll make a post in my free group, because I don't do stuff like this in my free group. It's mostly for my paid group. And then I'm showing people, you know, look at how much fun we're having over here. You know, if you guys want to come over and join us, you're happy to come over and join us. You know, so that's how I use these pictures. Also, it's kind of like you know that house on the street where you know there's that huge party going on. Everyone's having a great time, and you're outside, and all the windows are shut, and you know you can't see in the house, but you know everyone's rocking in there. You know, and then every once in a while you catch a glimpse of everyone having so much fun, and then eventually, you know, if you're in a free group for a few months. You say to yourself, man, I'm going into this group. This is crazy. They're having so much fun in there. You know, I want to join. So I use these also for advertising purposes here. So the next thing about content, we talked about, you know, engagement and obviously entertainment. You know, to have fun. I do this a lot in my groups because you know this lifestyle is hard. You know, there's a lot of information. I always tell people right away that, that this group is just not a workout group. You can post whatever you want in this group. Did you see a good movie last night? Post about it. Tell us about it. Did your kid get an A in biology? I want to hear it. Tell me about it. So it's not just, workout, nutrition, drink your water, get 8 hours sleep, and then you do little stuff like this. In my groups, I have my Sunday sillies. Every Sunday, either I post a funny video, or I post some funny pictures, cartoons, a funny story, whatever, so, and that's another thing that I do, real quick is I do have a schedule in a lot of my groups where I always do stuff on certain days. Like there's the Sunday sillies, because now, in my group I have everyone, they know on Sunday, that I'm going to post them, and on Fridays the weekend question, so they're looking forward to it, they're anticipating it. It's not just, it's a schedule, it's a routine. Routine is key, even with your workouts, with anything in life, especially in your groups. If you have a schedule and you have a routine going, people, are going to follow that routine, and they're going to be excited about it. So that's very important too with running your groups. And then I made this over here, this little fun thing here where you probably see these, on the internet all over the place on Facebook. You pick the month you were born, you pick the day you were born, and the last digit of the year you were born, you put it together, and that's your fitness alias. I post that in my group, and everyone has a good time, figuring out, what their fitness alias is. The challenges, you can have small challenges in your group. The group may be a 21-day, plank challenge, 30-day plank challenge. That doesn't mean you can't have maybe smaller challenges, along the way. What we do is in one of my groups, I'm going to go back to this slide just for a second, because I didn't talk about this picture down here. In my private paid group, we do also every Friday, we have what we call the MVFF, which is the most valuable fit fanatic. And we let the group decide who the most valuable fit fanatic is for that week. So we do, they give their suggestions. I have a form that this time it's a form because they fill it out and they put in the person who they think deserves to be the MVFF. And then on Friday, I see who it is, and then I make this little cover, Facebook cover for the group, and I post it up. And then boom, encouragement, empowerment, right here, plus and having fun and entertaining at the same time. Like, congratulations, acknowledgement. All those keys that, I started this presentation with is all wrapped up, in something like this. And then what we do is we say, you're the MVFF. Now it's time for you to challenge me. So I give them, they have to come up with the challenge that I have to do. Or if I'm doing a group where there's a couple different coaches, some of my coach leaders are also in the group. They get to challenge us coach leaders, and then we do it. I do the challenge, I videotape it, and then I do it on either Saturday or Sunday, and I put it up on Sunday and say, here's the challenge. So engagement, having fun, giving recognition, acknowledgement, and then giving them something to do, and sometimes, it's really fun. They kind of want to get back to you for all the hell that you're putting them through, so they give you these crazy challenges. Talked about videos, I make lots of videos in my group. Some of them are really informative and serious, where I'm talking about how to do a move properly. Some of them just crazy off the wall for fun. I do a lot of polls in my group, and not everything, like I said, has to be workout related or nutrition related. You can make a poll, this one was just the other day, who's going to win the Super Bowl. But you can do stuff like, your favorite, if you go anywhere in the world, on free vacation, where would you go? People can add their own options to a Facebook poll, so, fun things like that.
Tell them about the video that you created where you videotaped yourself through the whole day and then made people watch it.
Yeah, I did Ultimate Reset. I did an Ultimate Reset diary when I did the reset for the second time. So what I did was I created a YouTube channel, and every day I posted a new video, either in the morning or at night, of the Ultimate Reset, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, what I'm doing, the supplements I'm taking, this and that. And then I said, you know what, and then each day, like day 3, I would talk about alkalinize or whatever, optimize, and but this one day I'm like, you know what, I just want to show everyone my routine on the Ultimate Reset. Show everybody, what I start in the morning from when I wake up, so I go to bed at night. So I film myself all day, waking up in the morning, taking my supplements, doing my reset breakfast, going to work, doing my supplements, with the times on it, and then, obviously that's a lot of footage, so then I set it up, so now here I am, going crazy. It was like 6-7 minute video. I put the Benny Hill music behind it. Yeah, so, things like that. Just making it fun, just do different fun things. Is it work? I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a lot of work. But that's what this business is about. If you want to be successful in it, you have to put the work in. But there's no reason why you can't have fun while you're doing it. And that reset, those 21 days were really, really, really fun. All right, fun facts. You can find tons of fun facts on the internet. And I posted all the different calories that just doing regular housework, like washing the dishes for 30 minutes. How many calories does that burn? Vacuuming, ironing, washing the car, shoveling snow, this time of year. Facts like that, just, things like that. Real quick, I know we're getting long here. So just some of the important intangibles. One thing I want you guys to really, really remember is when you run a group, whether it's a free group or whether it's a paid challenge group, you have to remember that you are not the participant anymore. You're the leader. You're in charge. And you have to come across as that leader. You're not a participant anymore. You have to have, and that's what qualities all good leaders have. Honesty, integrity, respect. And you have to be the example. You have to do your workout. You have to drink your Shakeology. You have to do your healthy eating. You mess up, you confess up. You talked about that. You write about your struggles. But you are a leader in the group. You have to have that confidence, and what I like to call calm confidence. And here's an example of that. One of my coaches the other day made this awesome post about water. And how, to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. And, she put in all the right things about water and how it's going to help you with your journey. And then somebody posted that she was completely wrong, that drinking that much water will give you water intoxication, and that you could die. There is such a thing as that, but, that's, drinking 2 gallons of water all at once. But anyway, she just kind of challenged, her on everything that she was saying. You're going to find that's going to happen to you. It happens to me a lot too. But you can't, fight back and go back and say you're wrong and blah, blah, blah. That's why I talk about it. You have to be confident in everything that you write about and everything that you say. But you have to be calm about it too. So this coach did all the right things. She came into my coach group and she posted about it, and she's like, what should I say? And all the other coaches jumped in and said, this is what you say, and be short, and be brief, you don't create an argument, and then you just point out facts, and then she went back to her group and she kind of did a little rebuttal, but she didn't make it a big deal, even though you feel that way, especially if it's the first or second group doing this, somebody challenges you and then you're like, oh my God, what do I do? just be calm about it, you know, and don't blow it up into like this huge thing. You know, just you know, you can do a little rebuttal, but that's it. And you move on to everything else that's going on in the group. And you don't focus on it too much. Consistency is key. It's key. You're gonna run these groups. Jason and Leah talked about it the other night. How you do your posts in the morning, you do your posts maybe in the evening, early in the morning, you know, in the evening after people are getting home from work. You don't miss these. You don't. You know, this is your job. You are your own boss. You know, and what happens at work if you don't show up for work? You get in trouble. You know, you get fired. You know, that's how you have to treat this. And people thrive on routine. They thrive on consistency. So you have to make sure that you show up every single day. You show up with that enthusiasm. You show up with that positive energy. This is something I like. I never, when I write posts content, or even when I'm replying to people, I never use words like "I hope" or anything like that. And I always use words like "you will." You know, like not that. You know, I hope you succeed at this. You know, I hope you're going to do push-ups not on your knees by the end of this program. No. You tell them you will. You are going to do this. You know, just like the trainers on Beachbody. You know, that's once again empowering people. Don't use those. You know, those messages of like, well, maybe this or maybe no. You're going to do it. You will do it. Comfort zone, getting outside the box. You know, getting out of your comfort zone is just so important. And a lot of you are going to get out of your comfort zone doing these groups, doing these free groups, doing these paid groups. You know, it's a step out of your comfort zone, and it's scary. You know, it is really scary. But let me tell you, the more that you do it, the better you get at it. You know, and it's the same thing with, I know we're also talking about content here. The more that you write, the better you get at it. Just like anything else in life, it's a skill and you develop it. The more that you do it, the more that you practice. You know, who cares if you do a challenge group and it fails? You know, because you learn from that. You know, we've all failed. You know, Greg has failed. I have failed with groups. You know, I have made tons of mistakes. But, you know, you learn from that. You know, and it makes you stronger. You know, thinking outside the box. You know, I gave you guys some ideas, but, you know, come up with your own ideas. Just, I'm always seeing my coaches, you know, come up with stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, how come I didn't think of that? You know, so you'd be amazed that, you know, just if you think something is way out in left field, you know, do it. You know, because you never know what type of response you're going to get or what type of engagement you're going to get. Finally, big thing, spell check and proper grammar. I can't stress this enough. If you're going to be a coach, if you're going to be a leader, you're a teacher. You're a teacher in the group. Make sure when you write your posts, you know, that they read correctly, that they're using proper grammar, and the spelling is there. There's nothing worse than, you know, somebody coming into the group, you making a post full of spelling errors and grammar errors. I mean, you guys have seen that, and it just turns you off. It's like, you know, this person can't even put a paragraph or a sentence together. Why am I going to listen to them, you know, tell me what I should be eating and how to do a power jump? You know, I'm going to go find, you know, somebody else to do that. So it's very, very important. So whenever you write something, write it out in Word, whatever, and then, you know, if there's a word that's underlined red or green sentence, you know, you got to fix it, you know. So write it out beforehand and then all right, so I think I covered everything. And, you know, questions. Now, the whole time, I'm sorry, guys, if you were asking questions in the chat because I couldn't see it. One thing I can see on my screen was the slideshow. Switch it over to chat.
Okay, so Taylor asks if somebody likes your Facebook page because you're running an ad, how do you reach out to them? I can take this one if you like, Brian.
Yeah.
I do this all the time, and honestly, if somebody just likes your picture or your page, I do not reach out to them. You know, all that's doing is they're starting to follow you, you know? So until they engage with you in some other fashion other than a like, I would just, you know, ignore it, basically. You know, it's great. You got some more followers. Great. Don't really need to do anything yet. Because if you start sending them friend requests and they don't accept, well, then you could get put into Facebook jail, or if they, you know, block you or ignore you, you know, you don't want to get into that boat. And a lot of times when you send them a friend request, you're going to send that from your private Facebook page, right? And not from your like page. So they're not going to connect the two. They're not going to know that you are the person who owns this page a lot of times. So avoid that. Wait till you do your call to action, right? So like we talked about this week, you're going to do that call to action once a month, twice a month, where you're going to tell them about your free group, or you're going to tell them about your paid group or whatever. And then when they comment and they respond, you know, that I'm interested, you always want to get them to comment or to fill out a form, an action form. And when they do that, that's when you say, you know, okay, send me a friend request, or you can send them a friend request when they say they're interested, you know, or if they fill out a form, you can contact them by email or phone or text or whatever. So that's what I recommend. What else we got, Brian?
I'm looking at the chat right now. What was Heartless? I don't know what the context was in that. Okay, Matt. I answered Matt in the chat. Yeah, right now, one thing I always do is I always have my Beachbody group that is always going on. That's one group that I always have, and it's only one. I only do one group on Beachbody message boards, and every group that I do though has a start, a middle, and an end. I know some coaches do groups that just go on and on forever. I don't like to do that. I like to have a start, you know, a middle, and then an end, you know, because that's a routine, you know, just like anything else. You know, it's a race. You know, there's the beginning line and here's the finish line. So I always like to keep my group. So I always have a Beachbody group going on. Facebook, I have my free group that is actually like my general accountability group that constantly goes on, and that's where all my new members get invited to. They get put into this general group, and I run it, but I'm not, you know, 100%, you know, there on everything, because I save that energy for my paid groups. Not that I'm not there, because I am, but I'm just more involved in the other groups. So I have that one going on. And then I have specific groups on Facebook that go on, like my paid group of my Premier group, that people from the general group want to get into. That goes on every 30 days. I have that. So every 30 days it goes on, then it ends, and then I open up a new one every 30 days. And then whenever programs come out, you know, I'll have a group exclusive to that program. So right now I have an Insanity Max 30 group that's going on. So everybody in this group, we're all doing Insanity Max 30, and it's not a paid group per se, but it's all my customers, most of my customers, and you don't have to be on Shakeology to be in the group, but obviously you do have to have Insanity Max 30, so that's your ticket, you know, into this group. You get Insanity Max 30, boom, you're in my Insanity Max 30 private group. My Premier groups, you have to be on Shakeology in order to be in my Premier groups. Whether you're on it from a challenge pack or whatever, you have to be doing a Beachbody program. It can be any Beachbody program, but Shakeology is a requirement. And that's what, you know, when I say paid challenge group, that's my paid challenge group. You know, that's how you get into these groups, and those are the groups where, you know, and I also have assistance from some of my other coaches that are in my network, coaches, my personally sponsored coaches. They're under me, assist me and help me out in the group. So it takes a little bit off of me, but their customers are also in that group as well. So it's not just only my customers. So they have their customers in the group as well. And it's a teaching process for them as well. Having my coaches in these groups, they're learning how to run these groups, by themselves. So eventually, they'll be able to do this by themselves. So right now it's comfortable because they're getting a taste of it and they're not the leader per se, but that's what they're working towards. So they can have their own group. So these paid groups are for customers, but they're also for my coaches, to develop my coaches. And I know, a lot of you guys out there, you might not have any coaches yet. All you have is customers, that's fine. So maybe it's down the road. But eventually when you start developing coaches so they can have success, becomes, very, 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 very extremely important to the success of your business. So I don't know, like usually like four groups, sometimes 5. So 21 Day Fix is coming out, so I'll have 5 going on.
So Michelle says, what is the hook for people to go into the Premier Group?
The hook for people to go into the Premier Group. Well, kind of what I talked about in the slides is that, I promote the Premier Group in the free challenge group. And I promote it by not only talking about it and what you're going to get into this Premier Group, and not only you're going to get me, as the coach, but these are typically people that are not that I am their coach already. They just haven't taken that step to get a challenge pack or to get on Shakeology. I run them a little differently than Rhea and Takana do them. So most of the time they're my customers. I do have people that aren't my customers, but if they're not my customers, they can't get into the Premier Group. So that's another thing. But mostly just talking about everything that we're doing in the Premier Group. One thing that I also do is at the end of the Premier Group, I told you the Premier Groups go 30 days. At the end of the Premier Group, I ask everyone to go to my free group and make a post about your experience. It's like a testimonial about, how you like the group these last 30 days. Not only posting, what results you had with the program, but your experience in the group. And they go over there, and that's a testimonial for myself and for the group. Especially when I have contests and prizes. And they'll go over to the free group and they'll post that this last group I gave away 3-day refresh. I gave away workout DVDs. The middle contest was a 3-day refresh, and the final contest was for West Coast Combat. They go over there in the free group and they post, this group was amazing. I got these results. Oh, and by the way, I won the 3-day refresh for free. It was awesome. I'm going to be in that next group. So all the people that haven't been in that group yet, they're hanging out in that free group. Just another incentive for them to come into the Premier Group. And then everybody talks about Shakeology. That making it a requirement for the group. When I first heard about that and that was suggested to me, my first reaction was, "What? Are you kidding? I have to force people to use Shakeology." So that was the first reaction. And then the second reaction was, well, you know what? I've been doing this for a long time. I use Shakeology myself, and I have seen that the people that do use Shakeology, along with their workout and their nutrition, always get the best results. I mean, it's not just, I've lived it. It's not just reading it off of paper. I've lived it in my groups with these people achieving these amazing results because they're utilizing all the proper tools that are available to them. So, with that mindset, all of a sudden it turned into not forcing people to be on Shakeology, but it turned into me as a coach. I want to be able to do my job to the best of my abilities. I want you to succeed. I want you to get those results. And this is how you do it. You know, if you don't want to do it this way, don't want to be on Shakeology, that's okay, but that is what these groups are for. These groups are for the people who want those results, and this is the way that you do it. And have the numbers to back it up. Because all my groups, my customers that have been using Shakeology for months, for years, you know, it's been amazing, you know, and it's not just the weight loss ratings, you know, I have people talking about, you know, I don't experience it, but talking about, you know, their nails growing like they've never grown before, their hair, you know, see, nails are long hair, but they can attest to that, you know, and then that's part of the testimonial when the group ends, is they're posting about how great Shakeology is and what it did for them, you know, in this group. So now people that are, you know, that first said, I ain't going to join that group because I don't want to spend money in Shakeology, you know, whether they're cynical about it or whatever, you know, because I was at first. Red was telling me about Shakeology. How's that going to help you? But anyway, you know, they and then all of a sudden they see all these people, you know, praising it, talking about it. They're like, well, I got to try this stuff. So not only am I going to try this Shakeology, but that's my ticket into this huge premier group, that party in that house over there that everyone's having such a good time. That's my ticket to get in there. Who knows? Maybe I'll walk away and win 3 day with.
Okay, well, we are pretty much out of time. We're over the 9 o'clock hour. So there was a couple questions there, Brian, if you want to quickly answer those.
Yeah, real quickly. With your paid insanity group, do they have to buy the program for you, or you said that they buy it from someone else? No, in my paid group, they have to buy it from me. They have to be my customer. If they're not my customer, or they're not one of my coach's customers, then, and they didn't buy it through them, then no, they cannot get into the group.
But they could join your thread, right?
Yeah, then I tell them, you know, I have other groups that aren't paid. You know, come and join my free Facebook group, my open group. Come and join my thread. My thread is open to anybody, whatever program you're doing. You know, so I don't leave them hanging like no, you can't come into my group. It's the only group I have. You know, you can go over here. You know, and you know, do that. And then the process of developing trust with them begins. And then maybe that next month or whatever, now they'll come in, they'll buy something, and they'll come into the paid group. That's to pay people to go into the group. So I think I lost you. Basically, what I was saying is my groups go 30 days, my paid groups. So towards the end, that final week, towards the end, I ask everyone to now go into the free group and post a little testimonial about their experience these last 30 days in my paid group. So that's what they did. If that was your point. So it's not. I don't tell them to do that, you know, constantly. No, only when the group ends, because I've already posted my group. I've already created the event, my next 30-day group that's starting, the next paid group, premier group. I've already posted that event. It's been up there, you know, and now that it's been up there for like a week, then I have the people coming in that were in the current group that's going on, talking about their great experience, and there is that event right there, that team post for the next group starting, and then here are these testimonials, you know, and then boom, you know, I want them to click on there or to message me and say, I want to be a part of this thing. How do I do it? How do I get Shakeology? How do I get a challenge pack? How do I get it for the best possible price? You know, and I give them all the secrets and tips to, you know, you want to get a challenge pack, you want to get, you know, 21-day fix extreme, you know, you want to get it for $10, this is how you do it, you know, so.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Brian. I think that'll.
Sorry, guys, if I went too long.
No, that was great. I think we'll wrap up. So.
All right, guys. We'll post the slideshow up there, and if you guys want to have any questions, ask it in the boot camp, and I will do my best to answer them.